News Radio 710 Keel. It's Robert J. Wright and Aaron McCarty. Big debate last night, presidential debate. And for a little analysis, Dr. Jeff Sadow from LSUS, political science professor. Dr. Jeff, how are you doing again this morning? Thank you for joining us.
Well, good, thanks.
So, what did you think? Give me Dr. Jeff's quick analysis, and then we'll dissect.
Well, it certainly was an entertaining, more so than usual affair. You never really knew what was coming, and so plenty of surprises out there. Generally, it was not an impressive performance by either party involved. Trump's kind of stream of consciousness kind of way of going about this is a little distracting, a little hard to keep up with, to be able to pay attention to. Clinton has a very wooden delivery, one that's not very convincing. It's kind of, you can tell she's trying too hard to convey a certain impression, and to some degree, neither candidate did what they were supposed to do or should do in order to improve their standing among the electorate. But I think probably Clinton did a less worse job than.
It sounds to me like you're that you wish you had watched the Saints game.
And it was dreadful.
Either that or consume any adult beverages.
Jeff, let me ask you this. You said right off the jump there were plenty of surprises. Give me a couple of examples.
Well, I mean, just the way that, we'd start on a particular topic, and then suddenly it would veer off in this unexpected direction, usually Trump's doing, but sometimes Clinton. So, yeah, you just never knew what was around the corner. There's no predictability as to where it would go or what would come up.
Did all his interruptions bother you?
No, not particularly. It's as I say, a little jarring the way in which Trump tends to do his kind of stream of consciousness debating, which includes these interruptive moments. But most of the time it was something. The way you do it would be very short and quick, so it wasn't really that much of an interruption. It's only a couple occasions that he really kind of hijack the conversation and take it away again in a different direction than it had been going. So that wasn't too bad. He's pretty good at just these very short interjections that don't really stop things or pull things off a course.
Dr. Jeff, leading up to the debate, there was all this rumor going around that Trump wasn't preparing in the traditional way, and in fact, some people said he's hardly preparing at all. My first thought about that was, well, that's kind of probably just a media plant to lower expectations. And then I'm watching last night, and I was thinking, Trump would have greatly benefited by preparing a little bit, don't you think?
Well, you got to dance with the one that brought you, and Trump has gotten to where he has, way beyond anybody's expectations, precisely because of this debating style where he stays in great generalities. Last night he tended to focus very much on this concept about how America is getting the shaft here and there from its allies, from trading partners, et cetera, and so. That's what got him there, sticking to these very simple themes, very broad generalizations. So, in that sense, you look at it that way, that, maybe you should stick with what you were doing and what you seem to be doing well.
Dr. Jeff Sadow, LSUS political science professor, if this were a prize fight, could you identify
the winner, the loser?
A punch that really landed on Hillary and a punch that really landed on Clinton?
Well, Trump missed a number of opportunities to land very decisive blows. I mean, for example, she goes off into this question about cybersecurity, and I mean that's just wide open there.
Yeah, knock it down. She teed it up.
The woman who had the unsecured server that was in all likelihood hacked. That 7 times she made false statements about what was going on at levels of security and the like. Just over the weekend, 33,000 additional emails being released, and apparently President Obama secretly using a false name was on there. So, I mean, so much there, but she has very little credibility on that issue, and he didn't bring it up. So, he missed several opportunities like that.
What did she land? Any punches?
Well, what she was trying to do, and it was kind of a double-edged sword, when he would criticize her on policy grounds, saying, like, what you were doing in the Middle East, it was a disaster, it didn't work. But when she would criticize him, it was mainly on personal characteristics, like, he's supposed to hate women and calls beauty contestants fat and so on and so forth, which brings questions about his personality and temperament, but at the same time, it doesn't make her look very good. She's sitting there, she's not talking about policy. She's talking about trying to make it a referendum on Trump himself, and that's a risky strategy because maybe he can come off as obnoxious, but at the same time, it makes her look like she's not serious about policy. She's just criticizing the guy and not addressing issues that people care about.
Dr. Jeff, I mean this with total seriousness. Did Hillary score points? Did she impress people? Like I said, I'm being totally serious. Did she score points simply by remaining upright for 90 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, it helped that, she exuded a much more calm persona for the most part. She got riled a couple times by Trump. So, and that's part of the strategy, is to try to contrast him with his more bombastic style, hoping that her projection looks more presidential, so to speak. So that was one objective that she did accomplish.
To sum up, winner, loser, and do you think anybody's going to change a vote because of last night?
Yeah, they had different objectives going in. Trump, the way that he presented his ideas, or very few of them, and went into very little detail about them, didn't do a whole lot to try to hold on to or convince principal conservatives to vote for him, some of whom have rallied around the Never Trump movement. Clinton also played to her base. I don't know that she was as successful getting away from that. So in terms of expanding that, I think her objective is more to make sure her base does come out, and she's hoping that's going to be enough.
Dr. Jeff Sadow, LSUS political science professor, great stuff as always. Can't thank you enough for joining us, and hope you'll be back with us sometime again soon.
Sure.